I sense that part of what has made you so resilient is some kind of a hunger.
You are right. So some of us were born in the village. We have that hunger that we do not want to lack anything. Because lacking means going back to the village. And I do not want to go back there. That is why I work. I give everything that I do, I give it my all. Everything that I do, I make sure I do it. I give it the best of my ability. I make sure that I excel. If I open a business today, whatever business I get myself into, I want to make sure that I excel.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Against All Odds. My name is Daniel Coker, your regular host, coming to you all the way from Harare, Zimbabwe. And our guest today is an amazing woman, a very amazing woman, very influential, very successful businesswoman here in Harare, Zimbabwe, actually, well, in this part of the world. And she's in the person of Zodwa Mkandla. Did I pronounce that right?
Zodwa Mkandla.
Zodwa Mkandla, okay. Normally, or popularly known as Zozo. Is it Zozo official or just Zozo?
Zozo.
Just Zozo, yes. Okay. Zozo is the founder and the CEO of Travesh Travel Group. It's a travel company based here in Harare. And I think they've also got offices in other regional locations. And she's someone that I happen to have met actually at the airport just by chance. And I told my host who was picking me up, I said, I met this woman at the airport, who is she? So he came up with cars and he eventually said, oh, that's Zodwa. Anyway, but Zodwa, you're welcome to our podcast today.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Before this episode starts, I'd like to ask a big favor. Your subscription means a lot to us because the bigger this platform gets, the bigger the guests get. So do me a favor, please click on the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. Now let's get back to this episode. Thank you so much for making time for us out of your busy schedule. And to start with, I know you've done many of these podcasts, and I don't really want to go over old material because there's a lot of material out there outlining your background and all that. But for the sake of context, if you can just give us a brief outline of your upbringing, because I know you were born in Bubi,
yes,
which
Bubi.
Is in Matabelele land,
yes.
Near Bulawayo.
You've done your research very well.
Yeah.
It's actually a village. It's in the village. I was born in the Bundu in the village.
You're born in the village?
Yes, I was born in the village, yes.
Okay,
so for me to be here, it's really a miracle. It's really God's work.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's why I said to my host that I need to interview Zodwa, because I don't see how can somebody start from a village and get to where you are now? What was it like growing up in your home? Because I know your parents were in foreign service, but you grew up with your grandmother, something like that.
Okay, I grew up with my uncle.
Okay.
They adopted me at the age of I think of 11, 12.
Okay. And
they were in the foreign ministry, they were diplomats in Angola, Ethiopia, and all that. But my biological parents, they're still in the village up to today. So they gave me to my great-grandmother at the age of 5, 6. So my great-grandmother is the one who brought me up and then gave me to her son, who then brought me to Harare, who was the ones who were in the foreign, in the diplomatic mission in Zimbabwe. So they are the actual parents that brought me up. Though my biological mom and dad are back in the village, they're still in the village up to today. So I went to school there. My primary education was actually in the village. I used to walk 10, 20 kilometers every morning to and from barefooted. That's where I was brought up. I thank God that I got adopted by my uncle. Otherwise, if I'd not been, chances are I would still be in the village, maybe with 5-6 kids, because most of the people that I went to school with in the village, they've got 4-5-6 kids. Some of them have since passed. They like back in the village, then you at the age of 14-15, you hear that so and so is married, they get pregnant, they drop out of school and all that. But I thank God that he made me meet my uncles, who then adopted me and brought me to Harare. And being there, I was always that person who always wanted more, who always wanted to prove something to the next person, that I could do it better. I did not want to go back to the village. But after being born and bred in the village, that is the life that you know. But when you're then brought to town, you don't want to go back to the village. So that is the person that I was, that I did not want to fail in town. So failing meant going back to the village for me. So I was not going to go back to the village, which is why you see that I work so hard, because I always say it's so far away going back where I came from. Living from Harare, going back where I came from, and I don't want to go back there. I love my village, there's nothing wrong with being in the village, but I just don't want to go back to that life. I enjoy the life that I live now. I've been working very hard. I've worked hard for everything that I have, for everything that I own today. I've had to work very hard for it single-handedly. I've not had, some people have been made by men or by their husbands or by their partners, but I've had to work hard for everything that I own, for everything that, for Zodwa to be Zodwa today. I've single-handedly had to work for it.
So Zodwa, just going back to your childhood, would you say that it was just by luck that you sort of found yourself adopted and then your situation changed? Or would you say that there was something about you, maybe when you're growing up, were you seen as a child of promise? Were you, I don't know if you have siblings, but why were you chosen from, or why were you then given that opportunity to be adopted? Because I'm just kind of wondering. I don't believe things happen by chance. Personally, I don't believe things happen by chance. But having met you, I'm just kind of wondering if there was something back then about Zodwa that made you stand out.
I don't think there was anything that made me stand out. I think my mother, from what I heard, I don't know if it's true, when my mother gave birth to me, and then she met her current husband, I think when she then married this man, and then I think back then in the days, the man would say, you can't come with your baggage. So my mom had to leave me with her grandma. So my grandmom, which is my great-grandmom, then gave me to her son, who didn't have any kids at that stage. So I think, I can't call it luck. I think it was by God's grace that God maybe had a plan for me, and my plan or my destiny was to be a child to the parents that then gave birth to me. Because being a parent doesn't mean you have to biologically give birth to a child. It's looking after the child, and having been adopted by my uncle and my aunt, they looked after me like their own child. So as much as I knew that they were not my parents, but I called them dad and mom. I still call them dad and mom now, even though my dad has then passed on. But my biological mom is still there. So, and also determination, knowing that because these are not my biological parents, I did not want to disappoint them. So I always worked extra hard, because I did not want them to say, oh, because you're not our child, therefore you have to go back to the village. So I always wanted to make sure that I give them the best that I could offer, so that they further my education, they take me to school, they are proud of me. And I was that child that wanted to prove a point that I could do it. And I was going to make them proud, because they brought me from the Bundus and brought me to Harare. Many people wanted the opportunity that I was given, but they did not get that opportunity. There are some that we lived with in the same house, but they were not able to achieve what I achieved as a person. So, but they went to universities, they've got degrees, but still with the degrees that they have, they never managed to achieve what I achieved.
Okay, that's very interesting. And then I also, we've only kind of recently met, but I sense that you're somebody who's very street smart, you know. And in my research ahead of this interview, and I know your daughters have good degrees and all that. One of them has a master's, one of them is running the business now and all that, you know. But then I heard you say that you didn't go to university.
Yeah.
But from the research I've done and just from interacting with you, I can tell that you're very commercially aware and you have street smarts. And one thing that I haven't heard you say in any of the interviews you've done so far, I sense a hunger. You know, I sense in you, and I could be wrong, but I sense that part of what has made you so resilient is some kind of a hunger. You know, am I right? Am I wrong?
You are right. After, I don't know which part of Ghana you were born or where you
I was born in Accra.
In Accra, yeah, maybe not in the village, maybe in the city.
I was born in the city, yes.
Yeah, so some of us who were born in the village, we have that hunger that we do not want to lack anything. Because lacking means going back to the village. And I do not want to go back there. That is why I work. I give everything that I do, I give it my all. Everything that I do, I make sure I do it. I give it the best of my ability. I make sure that I excel. If I open a business today, whatever business I get myself into, I want to make sure that I excel. So what I've instilled in my children is, look, I don't have a degree. I've done up to O level. That's Cambridge, which is Form 4. I don't know what you call it in Ghana.
GCSE, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I've done. Mm-hmm. I've not done Form 5, Form 6, which is the higher education. I've not done that. But I do not have any, I wouldn't say someone with a PhD is any better than I am. Mm-hmm. They might have a PhD in whatever they've said. I've got a PhD in business.
In life.
In business, in life, in everything that I do. Okay. So I really am proud of what I'm doing, and I still think the sky is the limit. I can still do more. Even though I want to retire, but I still think maybe I've not given it my all. I know what I've achieved at my age, some men will never achieve it even at 60, 70 or 80, in 8 years. I've achieved it single-handedly as a woman. I've taught my kids that they're girls, that you have to work very hard for yourself to make sure that you as a person, you are content and confident in you as an individual. You mustn't expect the next person to do something better than what you can do for yourself. What I can do for myself, or what I expect you to do for me, I should be able to do it. I will never ask anybody of something that I cannot afford to do for myself. If I say today I want to go on holiday, suppose in America I want to fly first class, and I ask you to buy me a first class ticket, I will not ask you for something that I cannot afford to do for myself. Mm-hmm. I'm not one of those people that say, oh, because I've met this guy, I want a Gucci bag. Mm-hmm. If they don't buy it for me, I start judging them, I start doing this. I will never ask for something that I cannot do for myself. If I go to a restaurant and order a bottle of Dom P, for example, if the person that has taken me on a date cannot afford to pay for it, I will pay for it. I'll make my own bills. So I'm very comfortable in my own skin as a woman. What I believe in, what a man can do, I can do 100%, 100 times better than any other man. My belief is God has made us all the same. Because he says, I have made you in my own image. So if I'm made in God's image as a woman, the same man is also made in God's image. So it means we're equal. What the difference is, if you are a man in my life, the only difference is I'll then give you that respect. Since the Bible says a man is the head of every family, I accord you that respect as a head of my house or as a head of my household. But I still then will say, you are the head, I'm the neck. The head cannot stand without the neck. So at the end of the day, the neck is stronger than the head. So that is how I look at it. That is how I view life. I've got respect for men, I've got nothing against them, but I still think that the women are a better species than the men. That's what I think.
Okay.
That's
very interesting. All right, so Zodwa, what led to your going into travel and tourism? I know your story. In your story, you talk about the fact that you used to be a bus conductor selling tickets and all that. But I'm just trying to understand how you ended up in travel and tourism? Is this something you're passionate about? I mean, I'm passionate about travel. I travel all over the world, and I come to Zimbabwe every year without fail. I've been coming for God knows how many years. Every year, last week of November, I'm in Zimbabwe. People ask me, why do you always go to Zimbabwe? Well, I know what's here. Very beautiful country.
Beautiful country, beautiful people. I'm sure maybe there's a girl that brings you back.
No, I'm actually married.
Yeah, well, tell your wife that, okay, there's people. Well, having a girl doesn't mean that you're in any relation or intimate relationship, friends. Okay. I hang out with men. Okay. And it doesn't mean that there's anything going on between me and the men. Okay. I prefer male friends to women friends. That's what I prefer. That's my choice. But why I joined the travel industry, everyone in my family, everyone from my uncle's side, I mean the parents that brought me up. Growing up, I think there are 7 siblings and they all have children. So everybody is a teacher or a nurse. So I wanted to do something that was different, something that was not offered in Bulawayo, because after doing my Form 4 in Harare, I was sent back to Bulawayo where everyone belonged. So I was supposed to be a teacher, go to teachers college and all that. So applying for colleges, they always believed that I was applying, but I never applied. So I came to Harare lying to my parents that I'd been invited for an interview. Then I failed for some reason. That interview, I ended up meeting one gentleman working for Zimbabwe Tourism Authority who was my father's friend. He then did a career guidance on me and then told me about the travel industry. That's how I ended up in the travel industry. I wanted to do something, a course that was not offered in Bulawayo. So that's the only course that was offered in Harare. And I didn't even know what it entailed at that stage. I just wanted to do something different from teaching or nursing or being a police. But I didn't want to do that because everybody at home, that's all they did. They're all teachers. Up to now, everyone is a teacher. So after coming to Harare, doing travel and tourism, I started to enjoy the field. I was a bus conductor. I'm now a plane conductor. That's what it tells an elevation from a bus conductor. I mean, look, people don't believe it, but I am a plane conductor because I sell tickets. If I don't sell you a ticket, you can't fly. So if I don't sell you a bus ticket, you couldn't get into the bus. Though it was a luxurious coach, but still, there's no difference. Because if I didn't check you into the bus, you couldn't then travel to whatever destination you wanted to travel to. Then over the time, I started enjoying the travel industry. I loved interacting with people. I would like to say I'm a born marketer, a salesperson. Whatever opportunity you give me, if it's in sales and marketing, I can sell. I can even sell you. If I'm given the opportunity to sell you, I'll sell it to the highest bidder. That is me. I enjoy marketing. I enjoy talking to people. I just talk a lot, but for a good cause. Anything that can bring me money, I can't say no to it. As long as you give me an opportunity to market myself, to sell my business, I'll do it. And I'll do it to the best of my ability. So I've never looked back. There's nothing I would want. If I was given an opportunity to rewrite my life, I would still write it exactly the way it has happened. I love travel. I love my business. I would not do any other business than the travel industry. I'll still do it again. I enjoy it. I think it's the best field I've ever gotten myself into, and I love working with people, and I love traveling. I love traveling the world. I still haven't traveled the world. When I was doing my course, the destination I wanted to go to was Honolulu in Hawaii. I still haven't gone there. But believe me, 2024, that's one place that I want to go to. I want to go there and spend a month. I don't care how much it will cost me, but I have to, because I'm told it's so far away. I will spend more than 24 hours flying. There, yeah. So I'm going to go there and spend minimum 2 to 3 weeks there. So it's something that I enjoy. I really, really enjoy traveling, and I think it's the best field I ever chose. I wouldn't do anything better.
Would you say that your confidence has grown as the years, as your experiences have and your horizons have broadened? Or were you always a confident person?
Believe me, I was never a confident person. I was a very shy person. I was talking to some people over the weekend. I had a conference that I went to over the weekend, and I was telling them how shy, the low esteem that I had. I think having come from the village. You know, when you grow up in the village, you always look down on yourself. I used to look so down on myself growing up. Even when I started working, I didn't have that confidence. I would get into a taxi and I would not drop at my bus stop because I was shy at what people would say when I walk out. They'll be looking at me. I would even drop 3-4 bus stops after my own and then trek back because I was so shy. I was a very shy person. I can only say it's God. It's God's grace. God has been very good to me. I could not even stand in front of people and talk to people. I could not do that. I could not do that. But now it just comes naturally.
What changed?
I don't know. God. Only God knows what changed.
You know, the reason I asked you this question is that you said in one of your interviews that initially you didn't think you had the confidence to run a business on your own.
Yeah.
You know, so I always wanted to ask you this question: that what changed? You know, because I met you at the airport, and you've got a magnetic personality. You know, and I always assumed that you were this very confident person. You know, and when I listened to that, I was a bit taken aback because that's not the Zodwa that I see today. You know, I was just a bit confused.
Well, I don't know. I think for me to succeed, what made me start my own business is the money was never enough. And I always thought that I could do it better than the next person. And I wanted all the money to myself. Because when I started my first business, we were about 4 or 5 partners. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm a marketing person. I'm selling. I'm making all the money for these other 3 people. And I wanted it all to myself. I wanted it all to myself. That's why I said, you know what? I can do it. I can do it by myself. And I think for me to be able to, I didn't even go to school to do any marketing courses. I didn't go to school to do any sales and marketing. I did nothing, absolutely. I've learned everything on the job. Talking to people, being confident. It's also understanding what your client wants, understanding who your clients are, understanding what we were offering from. Before I started my own business, I was working for other different travel agencies. So I knew what they were lacking. So I wanted to improve on what they were giving so that I give something better so that I get all the clients to myself. That's how I ended up, you know, opening my own travel agency, giving a service that no one else was offering. Even up to today, the services that I offer in my business, nobody else offers them. I'm the only travel agent with an office at the airport. I'm the only travel agent with 2 lounges at the international airport here. I'm the only travel agency who does airport transfers. I'm the only travel agent that does check-in for my clients, check them in, receive the meet and greet at the airport. Others, they just issue a ticket and that is it. I make sure that my client, from the time I sell a ticket, they are checked in on time. We look after them in the lounge. We take care of them when they go and when they come back. That is the difference.
That's your unique proposition.
Selling point. Yeah, that's our unique selling point. So what I offer, other travel agents can offer it, but they can never offer it better than I do.
And then I also picked up in your, from an interview that you did previously, that you did other things whilst you were doing the ticketing and all that. You were baking, you were making clothes and all that. So my next question is,
I was also teaching.
Okay.
The International Air Travel Association after school. I would also teach. I would go to Spaces College. I would teach. Over the weekends, I would teach at home and all that. So the money was just never enough. So, and I wanted to take my kids to very good schools, and education was very expensive. I needed to stay in a comfortable place. So I juggled so many things. As a result, I deprived my children of my time, because they all went to boarding school at a very young age, because I never had time to be with them all the time.
Leading on from that, I noticed that you're a bit of a fashionista, you know, and I noticed we share a passion for Swiss watches.
I love watches.
Even though yours is 10 times more expensive than mine.
Well, I don't know about the cost, but I just, and you see, if you notice anything about me, if it's a watch, I'll wear a men's watch. If it's a car, I want to drive the car that the men drive. Because I'm a very tiny person, so I feel if I drive small cars, men always want to, you know, show themselves that they're better than women. So I always want to say, okay,
You're also there.
We're together. I don't know what we're together. So we're at par.
Okay.
So when you're driving on the side of the roads, you're in your Range Rover. I'm also in my Range Rover. You're in your G, you know, side by side, together.
So where does this taste for fashion come from? Because the first time I saw you wearing that's actually one of the reasons why I noticed you in Burberry top, and Louis Vuitton shoes.
Wow, you look like that too.
Yeah, I like nice things.
I think it's the exposure. Once you've traveled the world, you get to expose to the finer things in life. And I think if you asked me 10 years ago, I would not even attempt to go, well, I didn't even know there was something better than getting into Edgar's or H&M and what's that, the Primark of UK, things like, well, if you asked me then, I wouldn't know there were things like that. But after being exposed, after traveling the world and mixing with the celebrities that, look, I meet quite a lot of people when I travel. And because I talk a lot, I get to meet the most influential people. I'm not one of those people when I get onto a plane. When I travel, I always want to fly in business class. Why? Even if I cannot afford it, I always want to make sure that I fly in business class, because the people that have the money and the people that are of influence, they always travel business or first class. You meet them in the golf course. When I was starting, I used to play golf 2-3 times a week, because all the CEOs, the decisions makers, they're in the golf course. If you want to meet people that are not serious, you will meet them in the nightclubs. Not that everyone in the nightclub is not serious, but most of the people that want to go to the club, they are going there to play. So if you want to meet serious people in the golf course, decision making, you look at how they dress, you look at the clubs that they use, you look at the shoe that they're wearing in the golf course. You know, everything is different. When you invited to cocktail parties, corporate events, the people that you interact with in those events, the way they dress, their fashion, their sense of fashion, things like that. You get to attract yourself and meet with the right people that then influence you in the right direction. Then with me, I'm not shy, I ask, what are you wearing? Where did you buy it? What brand is that? Even something if I don't know, I will ask. I appreciate good things when I see them. And I will ask, where did you get this from? Then you start learning, oh, there's Burberry, there's Gucci, there's Louis Vuitton, there's Valentino, there's all these brands that are there. Yeah. There's so many of them. And back then, they used to say, fake it till you make it. You'll be buying imitations because you couldn't afford it. But now that I can afford, there's nothing wrong with those that want to wear imitation. That's what they can afford. When they then get to the levels where they can afford to buy the original, then they will afford to buy. But there's nothing wrong. I always see people saying, oh, they're wearing fake, they're wearing imitation. That's what they can afford. That's what their money can buy them. But you find that they even look much better with that imitation than the one who's wearing an original designer. So it's how you put your things together that make you look good or beautiful in whatever you're wearing. You can go to Zara. I always say, it's how you mix your fashion. It's your sense of fashion. You can wear something from Zara. I could be wearing Zara, you are wearing Dolce & Gabbana, but I look 100 times better in my Zara outfit than you who is wearing Dolce & Gabbana or Burberry or something very expensive. You could buy an outfit for $100,000 and I'm wearing an outfit for $1,000, but I look $1 million with my $1,000 outfit and your $100,000. So it's how you put things together and also picking the right things that go with your body structure. So it's not about just dressing up. You need to know what looks good in you, what you look good in.
Good. As we wrap up this this short interview, can you just tell them a bit about your bringing up your kids on your own initially, and before you met Genius and all that? Because you used to live in Mavuku.
Yes, that's where their father comes from.
Oh,
that's where he was born and bred. Okay. You've really done your research very well. Very, very well.
I tried.
Their dad used to live in Mavuku. Actually, many people don't know this. When I met their dad, I was in Bulawayo. Then he married me. Then we moved into Mavuku. We're staying in a 2-roomed house. We're renting a 2-roomed house. So there was our bedroom and the other room. The other room was our kitchen. It was our dining. It was the sleeping room for the kids, for the maids and all that. That's where we stayed. We shared a bathroom with it was maybe a 4 or 5 roomed house. Others were renting the other 2 rooms, we were renting the other 2, one was renting the other. That's where I was married and taken to in Mavuku. We didn't have a car. We used to hike to work every day He'll go his way, I'll go my way with a child, and then 2 kids. Then my parents, when they would come visiting, they were not happy with the environment, having been brought up in Mount Pleasant in a 4 or 5 bedroom house. They came visiting and they were not happy. Then they gave us their an apartment, which was a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. That's how I left Mapuku. But I was married in Mapuku, and I think I stayed in Mapuku for a good 3-4 years before I then moved to Masasa, where I was staying with in my parents' house. But I was comfortable. That's all I knew. I was happy to be married. My age mates were not married. I had a husband. I had a proper white wedding, 2 weddings, one in Bulawayo, one in Harare. For me, it was an achievement then. So. But I always used to say, maybe one day it will happen, but I never dreamt of living in a big house like where I'm living now. I was comfortable with that little that I had at that stage. No car, nothing. You look at other people driving cars, young girls driving a 323 driving cars. I said, okay, they're driving. I never even dreamt that I could one day drive a car, though I wished I would own one, but I thought it was out of reach. It's something that I never thought I would ever afford. Because with the salary I was getting, when we then bought our first house, it was a very, very small house. I think it was 200 square meters of land for a house that had our bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, a lounge. That's all we could afford. And it was an achievement. But then having grown from there, from Mavuku to Chishawasha, it's really an achievement.
It's a very long, very
long journey over the years. Yes.
Anyway, we have a tradition on this podcast where we give our guests the opportunity, and I should have warned you about this. We give our guests the opportunity of dedicating this episode to anyone of their choice, or any group of people, of their choice, or anybody who's helped you. Just want to look in the camera and just say thank you. To anyone at all. So who would you like to dedicate this episode to?
Wow. I would like to dedicate it to my spiritual parents, Papa Victor and Mama Anita Boateng. They've been very influential in my life, especially in my spiritual life, because when I met them, my life was, it was something else. But they've taught me how to pray, how to love God, my Creator. I like to really dedicate this to them. They are a pillar of strength. Whenever I have a problem, they are the first people that I call on to, and they are always there 24/7. And also, their children, Mama Ruth and Emmanuel Makandiwa, they are the parents that I have in Zimbabwe that I go to at their church here in the absence of my spiritual parents. So this episode is dedicated to my spiritual family. And the Rich Cousins. That's a group that I know you've heard about them.
I've heard about them.
They are my pillar of strength.
Okay.
In their absence,
are they real cousins or just?
They are the real rich cousins. We call ourselves the rich cousins, not that we are rich. We are aspiring to be rich one day.
So where you are now, many people would like to be.
Yeah, they would like to be, but I like to be better than what I am today. So this group, we encourage each other, we build each other, we support each other, we are there for each other. And if you had warned me in advance, because I've got 5 of them downstairs, they would have been part of this podcast. But next time I'll invite them.
How can I join the Rich Cousins?
Fully subscribed. You can be an associate of the cousins.
Okay. I think I'll take you up on that one. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring this interview to a close. I'd also like to say a very big thank you to Auntie Dawn, who arranged this interview at very short notice, because I'm flying out of Harare in a few hours. Auntie Dawn, thank you very much. And I'd also like to say a very big thank you to our sponsors, Consulting Professionals Limited and Alexander Ash Consulting. Thank you very much for your support. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you again next week. And Zozo, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We did
in this. Our country, we say Tinotenda. We do this.
Tinotenda.
Men.
Men do that?
No.
Men?
Yeah, like this.
Okay.
It must make this noise.
Okay.
And do this. Okay. It's a sign of appreciation.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you. So are you a Mamoyo or a Mashamba?
Am I a what?
Are you a Mamoyo or a Mashamba?
None of the two. I'm a Mandlovu. Elephant, yes.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. But thank you very much and see you.